33. Good morning. Oh, this is a happy occasion for me. You know, I'm the expert on alcoholism with a different approach. The approach of, well, laughing at them. Laughing at the alcoholic. Laughing with him and at him.
Boy, does she know? Says she got a sense of humor. That's one of the funniest jokes I've heard in a long time. Damn, I don't know how I survived all
That's
this.
enough.
If anybody's
Oh,
ever
my
seen these
God.
glasses before, I did not buy these, folks. These were given to me by an enemy, not a friend. He just said these were real expensive glasses.
Well,
I looked them up. You can get these at the dollar store for that.
Well, I've always had an aspiration to be like Fibber McGee and Molly, that sort of thing, you know, I listened to as a child, and I thought, wouldn't it be wonderful to be the
Well, no, wait a minute. That's
the
funny.
comedian?
That's funny because of the past few weeks, every time you say something, you go, Heavenly Days. And I said, you sound like Molly McGee. What am I, Fibber?
Fibber McGee and Molly and, numerous others, Jack Benny, and who was his sidekick? I just always wanted to be,
Rochester.
I always wanted to be
And his wife, by the way.
a comic duo.
That was his girlfriend.
And,
Nobody called his really his wife.
And I finally found the ideal couple, the ideal partner in him. And, you know, people have always laughed at drunks if they could. Now, that's a reason why they do. Is because if they can, they decide, instead of huffing and puffing and nagging and why, just laugh at them. As long as you can, laugh at
You can't
them.
spell it.
This is the whole principle of like Drunk Uncle on Saturday Night Live. Now, I have a little trouble sometimes laughing at Drunk Uncle. He just reminds me of
Yes, but the funny thing about it is,
some drunk uncles.
he's not even close to drinking. They don't allow him to drink on that show. You remember Foster Brooks from years ago? He kind of looked like me. You know, he'd always be on the Dean Martin roast. You know, he'd always come on. Well, Dean, I'm really glad to see you got me on again. This time I promised you I wouldn't come drinking. And so I haven't been drinking for at least 4 or 5 minutes, so I'm on here now. And he'd fall off the dais, right? And everybody's falling off the floor.
Of course,
you know,
there was
that's
Dean
funny.
Martin. Was there ever a more charming drunk than Dean Martin with his?
But he wasn't always that drunk. He was just
Right.
laid back, you know. I mean, just.
And you know, he would be ideal on Saturday Night Live. Mom's drunken boyfriend, and then we tried to figure out why. Why this has happened. You know? Why she has got this boyfriend who drinks.
Yes, that's true.
No.
It makes you feel holier than thou. We've already done this before.
Holier than thou. Well, I know. You know, so this causes some serious people to feel like laughing at such things as drunks. That is, you know, decadent and non-serving. You know, that you got to take problems serious. Well, there's plenty of problems to take serious. There's never a lack for that. So the laughs were harder to come by. So
if you consider it to be a problem.
us sisters, we specialized in laughing at our drunken relatives up to as long as we could. We would, if there was, you know, we could take it lightly what they were doing, we would. We'd go into tragedy mode later when things got too bad. But anyway, here I am with my comedy partner, who is, and
you know, one of these days,
wonderful.
I'm going to catch that finger going right across there. and you're going to hear a
Oh,
scream
yeah.
like you're not going to believe, right? And then I'm going to spit out her finger, and we'll be spending the rest of my time in jail. You know.
And well, anyway, I wanted to report that I have a new granddaughter. After 13 years, I've got a new grandchild, and so that's cause for celebration.
It sure is.
And of course, he won't be allowed to see her, or get near her. Don't
What
worry,
am I going
son.
to do?
He won't be allowed to pick her. Yeah, he might rob her.
Breathe on her? Boy, that's on a hell of a... That's some baby. By the way, the baby stopped crying and now it's taking a nap. You know, he can breathe on her anytime he wants. Come on over and breathe on her. Put her back to sleep.
Yeah, right. He won't even be allowed in the room, you know. But
I don't mind that at all.
He.
You show me a baby and I'll show you making skid marks out the door. You know, I mean, I don't need that. You know. All the kids
He's
that I've
getting
seen,
dangerous. Also, my son survived his hip replacement surgery, which I've been talking about here for quite some time.
That's right.
And he was saved. He went to Austin, Texas, to have it. His insurance, his toxic replacement people couldn't see anything out, no other plan but come to Austin. Well, he was down there all alone, and I don't know what he'd done if he hadn't met a cab driver that was very kind to him and took him places. And
I don't like the way this is going. This is
well, you know, cab drivers are known. We have them here in this city from all over the world.
Is this a male or a female cab driver?
Cab drivers are known to be from everywhere, and he was from Algiers. I mean, so when immigrants come to the United States, they always think, I can go to the United States, be a cab driver. And they are. And he met one, a very kindly man, and
You want me to tell you about my cab driver in Dallas?
I'm grateful to cab drivers all over America.
My cab driver in Houston, Texas.
Saying that my son's his biggest help in Texas was the cab driver who brought him home from the hospital. Because he wasn't, you know how they do that nowadays. They just throw him out of the hospital in a day or two. And
I don't know how they do it. I didn't.
I was the caretaker for one man. They threw him out after a 5-hour back operation. And I hadn't even had any nurses training. And his leg all swelled up, and I ran all over the building saying, what'll I do? His leg is all... And so there was a nurse there that said, go home, elevate his leg. And I said, oh, okay. See, we've all had to become nurses because, they throw them out of the hospital so fast, they can't keep them there forever like they used to. So my son had to go to a hotel.
Well, let me give you a little clue about what hospitals
and the cab driver took him there, and he could see that he was still mighty
in the old days,
a lot of pain. And
100, 200, 300 years ago, you did not want to go to the hospital.
Oh,
Why?
yeah.
Because you weren't coming back from the hospital.
Well, yes.
See,
yes.
it was kind of like the hospice. There was a hospital. They weren't all that sanitary in those days, and they didn't have all of those, technical stuff. I know my leg's coming off, but don't give me the hospital. Don't take me to the hospital.
Oh, yeah, I'll never come home.
They're going to kill me. I'm never going to come home.
Well,
Which
yes.
is true. How do you think surgery got started? Civil War. They're cutting guys' legs off and hands and shit like this all over the place. Of
course, I got quite excited after my son was there a day in the hotel and hadn't called me. Well, turned out that he thought he had called me. In his delirium, he was still kind of out of it, and he thought he had called me, but he hadn't. So I finally called him, and as soon as I heard his voice, and I thought, oh my God, and I called everybody in the family and said, oh my God, you've got to get on the phone and call Raymond and help him get through he's only got a cab driver helping him right now. So, and of course he had 911. But so my son called me, he
I'll tell
said,
you, my
Mom,
cab driver's
my
still
oldest
there.
son called me and said, Mom, I've called Raymond, he's going to be okay. And I said, he is not going to be okay unless we do a heck of a lot of praying and calling and because
Praying? This
Yes.
fellow, that's so hypocritical.
yeah, well that was well it
That's
was a matter of
hypocritical.
to me, well, you don't pray till you really got something to pray about. So
I did not know
I think
that.
my son,
So in other words,
my oldest son,
so if
you know,
you just go to church
he
every
backed down.
Sunday, you know, and you
He
just
said,
want,
I said, we've got to get him through this long distance. We can't get down to Austin. So, you know, I know
told
as
you
as a mother
I
who.
told you, if you remember correctly, I would pay for a Greyhound bus ticket one way.
Oh,
How
yeah.
you got back is entirely up to you.
Well, he knew very well that I couldn't get down there. Couldn't get down there.
You know, and I
And
told you, I
so-
said, I'll pay you to fly down there, but how you get back's entirely.
Well, I know that as a mother that it takes quite a bit to get me excited, but when I do get excited, I'll call on everybody to rally the forces.
How
and-
come you never asked me to call him?
That's obvious from your irreverent and
Well, I prayed with him if he'd wanted
if
to.
I
on
don't
the
have to
phone.
hit him and, give him a good whipping before this video is over with.
Well, then we would all be disappointed and basically pleasantly
Oh.
surprised because she usually smacks me
Boy.
at least one or two
And,
times.
and so, anyway, and I don't even know if my son really appreciated that. He hadn't called me for 2 or 3 days, and so, I don't know if he appreciates Mom fully either, but anyway, I did get
You
my,
remember what I told
the
you
rest
on
of the
Mother's
family,
Day?
my sisters,
I said, "I'm
sufficiently
glad you're not
alarmed that they
mine,
called
Mother."
him, and, well, I don't know, I just thought too much attention would be better than none, because the cab driver, he couldn't depend on him, he had to go out and every minute he had to go out and check other people's places, and
Who's paying for the cab? The hospital?
yes, the cab, well, I believe they did, yes, and, but anyway, he's
So now
finally
there
got on
wasn't
the
any
plane and
Any
came back
out-of-pocket money for
to
Raymond?
Utah, where he's rehabbing, and so I can't help him up there either since I'm here in Arizona.
Once
So,
again, I told you I
but
would
my
pay
sisters
for
both live
all
up
the way
there,
up
so
there.
we've always stepped
go
in
up there.
when the mother wasn't there. The sisters would step in and be, be the one that fussed and stewed over him till they got better. The way you have to do when your kids are ailing.
My
You've got
relatives never
to.
fussed and stewed over anybody.
Well, that's why you're in the shape you're in. And I came on to him too late, or I'd had him up and running better, but because he was incorrigible by the time I got to him. It's too bad I didn't meet him like 35 or 40 years sooner.
Seriously.
And then I could,
Seriously.
really.
I wasn't doing anything
really
before I moved
done.
into this place. Shot a couple games of pool, played a little piano, the next thing I know, I wonder why I'm drinking so much.
No, he drank less actually after I met him.
That's right.
And but if I met him a lot sooner, and then we could have formed
What,
a
50 years ago?
comic duo. We could have formed, and I've always been kind of suspect because of my humorous approach to what. But I was the one that was
I don't
dealing with
even
a
know
lot
what
of
the hell you just said. You
alcoholism
didn't
in
even
the
say
family.
anything.
So.
You did
The
not
humorous
say anything.
approach was absolutely necessary for survival.
Right,
I
so
could not
that's the
have
way it is.
survived all these alcoholics that, in the family that I was born into this family. So when you look back on it, you say, well, what caused me to be born in this family? You get right back to the basic.
But gosh,
Kids are born into situations that are tough.
we don't get
And
to
they
pick
have-
our parents. How many
That's-
times have I told you that?
That's right. And other people don't keep that in mind. They don't keep
You know,
in mind.
in fact, I go back with the
what
6
would I
kids.
do if I were over there coping with
Let's go back with the 6 kids,
this
okay?
father?
4
what
boys,
would I
2
do?
girls. Not one of them looks exactly like the other. Not one of them does exactly what the other. They're all different. You know, did they get a choice of picking up their, if they got a choice, they probably wouldn't have said, well, let's see, how old is your brother? Well, he's a year older than me. How old's your other brother? He's a year younger than me. And how old's your sister? Well, she's 2 years younger. It's just like a little clan. You don't get any choice, but each one is individual, and each one you have to accept for what they are. And if you try to impart the fact that you have no sense of, well, humor, but there was no, first of all, nobody should ever get that many kids that close together. It's that good for. Secondly, and I'm just going to finish this off because I'm so glad that Raymond is doing better, because she was making my life.
Well, I kept
what if this
surgery.
happens? What if that happens? What if this happens? What if that happens? Then her, son and daughter-in-law, they gotta go to Salt Lake City because the baby wants to back out or wants to come out sideways. And so, what if they did this, that, and I said, well, everything came out okay though, right? Told you.
Well, let me tell you.
Came out all right. You get the.
This man, is a college graduate, and he has a high IQ.
Try not to tell everybody that because it's nobody's business.
And why he became an alcoholic when he had all those privileges. Now, this is something that people just don't understand. All those capabilities. Why? Why? Well, that's a mystery we're trying to solve. I haven't solved it yet either. I just don't understand it. And
I don't have a greed factor. I don't have a killer instinct. I just don't like screwing other people over. That's all. I mean,
the salesman.
I got screwed over in my first marriage, and I couldn't believe it. And I said, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Why should I do that? I mean,
He's married a beautiful girl, but there was
a skin deep, right? Beauty is only skin deep.
Yes.
But nastiness goes clear to the bone, baby. Boy, I fooled you, didn't I? Oh, she said, yeah.
And, you just can't understand it, but it's a fact, so you deal with the facts. You don't say why when it's apparent that something happened, that's what resulted. And but anyway, I soldier on,
soldier.
Yes, as his caretaker, keeping him.
I think she used to read a Reader's Digest, more colorful language. She'd skip all the other stuff and go straight to that page. More colorful language. I have learned more horsing around jokes.
Yeah, horse joke.
See, I grew up, the guy would say to the other guy, why are you horsing around? And I would go, well, I don't have a horse. What do the horses do? She knows what horsing around is, right? Because those horses are horsing around.
Yes. And he
horses.
He always gets the joke. Always, if there's any joke at all, he's going to get it, and he's going to. And so I just found
get it all right.
Quite invaluable, and I didn't understand why it hadn't been completely destroyed. His capacity to joke and make jokes, as that seems to be. And so my theory has been that I'll come in here and make jokes with him and try to keep that alive. And hoping that, because I believe that if he didn't have me coming in here and joking and laughing with him, he would spend a lot more hours by himself, and he would invariably drink. And I know when I'm up in my room, if I spend too much time up there, don't have anybody to talk to, I eat. It's just inevitable. Pretty soon I'm looking in the cupboard, I'm trying to find something to preoccupy my mind, and it becomes eating. Well, naturally if he spent too many hours alone, he would become drinking. But I come in here and stay long enough and do enough things, like make this video.
You're only allowed to stay and do so much damage, then it's time to go, right? You know,
And
you have
they-
damaged my
yes.
reputation like it could be damaged any more than it already is. I mean, geez.
Yeah, and so take up some time joking, laughing. Now that's going to be a lot better for him than just looking at the TV. Of course, he turns to all the
Of course,
comic
I watch
programs.
most of the comic
He laughs,
shows, you know.
he entertains himself, but it's not live. It's not
I don't
got the
play with myself,
vitality.
but I entertain
It has
myself.
not got, a person and their TV. Inevitably, that they become aware that the TV is just not alive. They just can't talk to it. They can't interact.
I will someday.
Pretty soon, and I do believe that I have kept him alive. And I hoped that I would be able to, do a lot more than he would quit drinking, but that hadn't happened yet. And that's the big thing, when you got somebody that you're concerned about, and he doesn't immediately quit drinking, and he doesn't respond to this, he doesn't respond to that. In fact, years go by, and he's still not responded yet. Now that comes the test, the real test of, do you give up? No, you never give up. You always say, well, I haven't, there's something I haven't tried, or even if he passes on, I'm going to try right up until the end. The end, I will be trying. And,
All right, I agree with you, but I've told you this before. After I'm dead, leave me the hell alone, will you, please? Don't come.
Oh, no.
Don't do
No,
what you do to
I
your
do not
neighbors,
leave people
your
alone.
ex-boyfriends, and
I talk
grandmas.
to all of them after they're gone.
Don't
I
bother
do
me.
spirit dialogues because I want to know, the
gonna
guy
be
that I wrote a book about.
I'm going to be
a whole
cremated after they chop
novel.
me in pieces.
I called it a novel.
Then they're going to cremate me and go
No.
blow me across.
I actually, now this
It's already
spirit,
paid for.
this alcoholic that I spent a lot of quite considerable time with, to the point that I wrote a novel about him. Naturally, I'm going to communicate with him in the hereafter. When he comes in, he usually stays maybe a day, and sometimes I go where he is. I don't even know how I got there, but I will feel some urgent need to, and some way or another, I will be talking to him. And he comes in every
Why
once
don't
in a
you
while.
bring them over? We'd have a little three-way conversation.
Well, I have brought a spirit in here when Pierre's been visiting. I told you he was here, and it didn't do much. He didn't. But he don't believe in it enough. So, but
Well, when that chair started
But I will-
rocking by itself
I will
a little bit, made me
say-
a little nervous around the edges.
there was a very sad
Chairs
thing
going
happened
like this.
with him. I went to visit him, and I thought I took my little blonde granddaughter with me, and went up there and visited him. And during the process, I saw this body that looked like his, and I was examining it. I was trying to figure out if it was his. It looked so much like him.
Now you're into
And
cadaverism? I mean,
I didn't know what. I thought, why am I examining a body in my dream? And it wasn't maybe 2 or 3 weeks until his daughter, his
latent
42-year-old
necrophilia, that's what it is.
daughter,
Latent necrophilia.
died of an overdose. Well, he's very
Of
worried
what?
about her. She had long been into drug and alcohol abuse. She was his only daughter. There was alcoholism in that family, in his mother's family, that was way back. It was generational. So much alcoholism. This is why I
Kinda reminds
studied
you
him.
of another family you might
I
know.
studied him. I mean, he had an uncle who was just a hopeless drunk, but he was funny. He was another.
How do you know he was
Oh my
hopeless?
word! He was the most comical guy. He was a great partner for me, except he'd get me in quite a lot of trouble. But he would tell people,
I never get you
"Oh,
in any trouble.
Jerry's
You're
my
always getting
companion
me
now."
into trouble, like, well, we're going down to talk about a very serious thing. And then
Well,
3 minutes later, well, if he wouldn't get drinking so much, we wouldn't have to get sick.
That's right. And Dale was my he would tell people, well, Jerry's become my partner, and we went out stealing all over and my stealing partner, he called me. And oh, everybody just thought, oh, this was a boyfriend that, I was traveling in a bus, I happened to look down, and he had stolen all the neighbors, his friends' furniture out of his house and was driving home with it. And they said, oh, look. Well, he was a known thief and mixed up with his alcohol.
What's a surprise?
Yeah, but he was the funniest guy. He told me, he said, don't hang out with me. He said, if you hang out with me, he said, you will lie and you will cheat and you will steal. I said, oh my God, yes. But he was just so
that's all
funny.
I ever wanted to do
so
is like.
funny.
Besides that, folks, I hate to be the one to tell you.
Everybody
She
thought he
won't
was
tell you, but he was heavy into lumber.
I know.
You know what I
He was
mean?
a lumber.
Big lumber.
Yeah, right. Oh, and I wrote the funniest play about him because every single thing he did was funny. But, I mean, people wondered, in that town, well, if I had
He could
really
have been a
become
porn
his
star,
outlaw
right?
partner and had taken up stealing and lying and, what's saying? Well, he was just one of these old Western characters that was like the town funny guy, So, believe me, alcoholics can be very funny and very, very funny. So, I was always looking to replace him, and I found him. And
Well, unfortunately, I'm not built like that lumberjack.
oh no, but that lumberjack, he died at 61 of an aneurysm.
Well, that's probably used it.
But
A jacket.
I haven't finished with him yet, and I haven't finished with you either. Don't think just because you die that that's gonna stop me. I'll be talking to you.
Boy, I'll tell you, if that isn't a threat to live, I don't know what is. I want to live forever, I guess. Somebody says, and I want to live forever. Because if you die first, you're
immortal
gonna come looking
alcoholic.
for me.
That's it. They just don't die. Okay, bye.